In the dense heart of a remote European forest, a team of seasoned soldiers ventured, their mission veiled in secrecy. Colonel Alexi Volov, a battle-hardened leader, led the group deep into the undergrowth. It was a moonless night, and the forest was eerily silent, except for the rustle of leaves underfoot. The mission, given to them by a shadowy government agency, was to investigate an abandoned military research facility and retrieve any classified documents. As the squad approached their destination, an unsettling chill pervaded the air. The forest seemed to hold its breath. Tensions were high among the men, who had a sinking feeling that they were not alone. Unbeknownst to them, something monstrous stirred in the depths of the woods, lurking in the shadows. The squad reached the abandoned facility, its dilapidated buildings overgrown with vines. Colonel Volov ordered his men to fan out and secure the perimeter, while he entered the main building with his second-in-command, Lieutenant Elena Petrova. The darkness inside was oppressive, and the feeling of being watched was inescapable. The colonel and lieutenant cautiously searched the facility, their flashlights piercing the gloom. In a room on the ground floor, they found a series of shredded files and documents strewn about. It was clear that someone had been here before them. But who? As they gathered the remnants of the classified papers, a strange growling sound emanated from the corridor outside. It was low and guttural, like no animal they had ever encountered. Back outside, the squad members were becoming increasingly uneasy. Corporal Andrei Ivanov, a sharpshooter, suddenly felt a shiver run down his spine. He whispered to Sergeant Katerina Sokolov, "Do you hear that, Sergeant? Something's out there." Katerina strained her ears, the hair on the back of her neck standing on end. In the distance, they heard the same eerie growling, like a twisted symphony of despair. Back inside the facility, Colonel Volov and Lieutenant Petrova were confronted by a gruesome sight. In a blood-soaked lab, they found remnants of grotesque experiments, deformed animals with mutations that defied nature. The classified documents painted a bleak picture of the military's attempt to create genetically enhanced beasts for combat. It appeared that something had gone terribly wrong. As they hastily tried to gather the documents, a deafening roar echoed through the facility. It was a thunderous sound that shook the walls. The colonel and the lieutenant exchanged panicked glances. They knew they had to leave immediately. Outside, the squad had regrouped, their weapons drawn when they saw them, monstrous, nightmarish figures emerging from the forest. Hulking silhouettes, taller than any grizzly bear, with fur matted in filth and eyes that burned with an unnatural malevolence. Mutant bears. The soldiers opened fire, the sound of their assault rifles ripping through the night. But the bullets seemed to have little effect on the creatures. The mutant bears charged with a savage ferocity, slashing at the soldiers with elongated claws and snapping their powerful jaws. The forest was filled with screams, gunshots, and the guttural roars of the mutants. The squad desperately fought to hold their ground, but the mutants were relentless. One by one, soldiers fell, torn apart by the nightmarish beasts. Panic set in, and it became clear that escape was their only option. Colonel Volov ordered a retreat back into the facility, hoping that the heavy doors and reinforced walls would provide some safety. Inside the facility, Colonel Volov and his remaining soldiers barricaded themselves, the relentless growls of the mutant bears outside sending chills down their spines. With every thud against the walls and windows, the soldiers felt their hopes slipping away. The classified documents they had retrieved now seemed like a macabre prize, their knowledge a curse. Hours turned into an agonizing night as the mutant bears circled the building, their growls becoming an inescapable, haunting soundtrack. It was a night of terror, desperation, and the realization that they were not the hunters, but the hunted. As dawn broke, the mutant bears, perhaps satisfied with their torment, withdrew into the forest. The surviving soldiers emerged from the facility, their faces etched with trauma. The forest was quiet once more, the only remnants of the night's horrors being the bloodstains and the classified documents clutched in their trembling hands. The squad had narrowly survived their encounter with the mutant bears, but they had been forever scarred by the nightmarish ordeal. They returned with their findings, and the shadowy government agency took over the investigation, leaving the soldiers with a chilling memory that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. In the heart of that remote European forest, the mutants still roamed, a living nightmare that defied explanation, a reminder that some secrets were never meant to be unearthed. The soldier's tale would become a whispered legend among those who ventured into those haunted woods, a cautionary story about the darkness that could lurk in the most remote and forgotten corners of the world.